Chosen one, stop everything. Do not scroll, do not multitask, do not treat this like another message, because tonight is not symbolic. Tonight is not motivational language. Tonight is not a metaphor. Something is being finalized. There are moments when heaven observes quietly, and then there are moments when heaven leans in. Tonight is the second kind. You can feel it already, that pressure behind your eyes, that heaviness in your chest that doesn't feel like fear, but also isn't calm. That strange sense that something is closing while something else is opening at the same time. That is not imagination. That is transition. Chosen one, tonight is not about what you will receive. It is about what you will no longer be allowed to remain. Certain versions of you are expiring. Certain tolerances are being revoked. Certain doors you kept half open are being sealed permanently, not as punishment, but as protection. Heaven does not upgrade identity slowly. It does it suddenly. That is why sleep has been strange. That is why old memories resurface today. That is why your patience dropped without warning. That is why your spirit feels alert, even if your body is tired. You are not restless. You are being rewritten. Tonight, you cross a line you cannot uncross. After this, you will not be able to pretend ignorance. You will not be able to tolerate what once drained you. You will not be able to unsee what is about to become obvious. And most importantly, you will not be able to shrink back into the person you were before this moment. Because heaven has already decided what you are becoming. This is why resistance has intensified in the last 24 hours. Sudden doubts, sudden distractions, sudden urges to delay, to numb, to disengage. That is not coincidence. That is pressure attempting to stall activation. But chosen one, activation does not ask permission. Tonight, your spiritual posture changes. Tonight, your tolerance collapses. Tonight, your authority sharpens. And tomorrow, people will feel it without you saying a word. You will notice it first in silence. Conversations that don't flow the same, rooms that feel smaller, people who suddenly seem unsure how to approach you. That's not ego, that's energy recalibrating around a higher frequency. Because what you are becoming does not blend in. Let me say this clearly. Tonight separates observers from participants. Some will watch messages like this and feel nothing. Others will feel pressure and leave. But you stayed. That means something in you already knows. This message is not optional. This is a threshold moment. If you ignore it, the shift still happens, but with resistance. If you align with it, the shift happens with clarity. So stay present, stay grounded. Do not rush ahead in your mind. If your spirit recognizes this moment, comment, "I'm ready for what's next." Chosen one, what is being removed from you tonight is not random, and it is not gentle. Heaven does not strip lightly. What is being stripped has already overstayed its assignment. Tonight, dependence is being severed. Not dependence on God, but dependence on validation, approval, timing outside of alignment, and emotional permission from people who were never meant to authorize your future. This is why certain attachments have felt heavy instead of comforting. This is why conversations that once energized you now drain you. This is why you felt irritation where you once felt patience. That irritation is not immaturity, it is authority rejecting misuse. You are being stripped of the version of you that tolerated inconsistency, the version that over-explained, the version that waited for reassurance before moving, the version that stayed quiet to keep peace at the cost of truth. That version cannot cross into what's next. Tonight, heaven is removing your ability to self-abandon. And this is the part many people misunderstand. When stripping begins, it feels like loss before it feels like freedom. You may feel unusually detached. You may feel emotionally flat. You may feel like something familiar is missing, but you can't name what it is. That's because identity shedding feels like grief, even when the outcome is elevation. Pay attention now. You may lose interest in people you once chased. You may stop responding to things that once triggered you. You may feel unimpressed by opportunities that would have excited you weeks ago. That's not boredom, that's discernment taking control. Tonight, heaven is reclaiming your nervous system. You are being recalibrated so that chaos no longer feels normal and peace no longer feels suspicious. This is why your tolerance for emotional noise is collapsing. Your system can't hold it anymore. And here's the part the enemy is panicking about. Once tolerance is revoked, manipulation stops working. That's why pressure tries to rush you tonight. That's why distraction suddenly feels urgent. That's why sleep may resist you, because the last thing resistance wants is for you to wake up tomorrow with clarity you cannot unlearn. Chosen one, stripping always precedes assignment. What you are becoming tonight cannot carry old coping mechanisms, old emotional contracts, or old narratives. They would fracture the authority you're stepping into. So if you feel lighter and heavier at the same time, good. If you feel sad without knowing why, good. If you feel calm but alert, very good. That means the separation is working. Do not try to recover what is leaving. Do not reach back for comfort that no longer fits. Do not negotiate with endings. What leaves tonight is making room for something that requires internal silence and external strength. And tomorrow you will notice it. You won't feel the urge to prove. You won't feel pulled to explain. You won't feel the same emotional hooks. Because tonight you are becoming someone who moves without permission. If you feel this stripping happening right now, comment, "Let it fall away." Chosen one. Once the stripping is complete, installation begins. And installation is quieter, but far more permanent. What is being placed inside you tonight is not emotion, it is structure. Structure in how you think. Structure in how you decide. Structure in how you respond under pressure. This is where the shift becomes irreversible. Tonight, heaven is installing discernment without anxiety. You will no longer need to analyze people endlessly or replay conversations to feel safe. You will simply know. Your body will register alignment before your mind tries to argue with it. That's not intuition, it's authority syncing with perception. You are also being given internal permission, permission to move forward without consensus, permission to disengage without explanation, permission to prioritize alignment over appearance. This is why guilt is dissolving right now. Not all at once, but enough that you can finally breathe without asking yourself who you're disappointing. That's not selfishness. That's leadership forming. Another thing is being installed tonight. Emotional containment, not suppression, containment. You will feel deeply, but you will no longer leak. You will care, but you will not chase. You will observe, but you will not absorb. This is why your reactions are slowing down. You're not losing passion. You're gaining control, and control changes everything. From this point forward, your words will land differently, not louder, heavier. Your silence will carry more weight than your explanations ever did. People will feel you before they understand you. Some will adjust, some will withdraw. Both outcomes are correct, because what you are becoming does not require universal access. Tonight, heaven is also installing timing awareness. You'll notice this in how quickly you sense when to act and when to wait. You will stop forcing momentum. You will stop rushing clarity. You will recognize when the moment opens and when it closes. This precision will protect you from burnout and betrayal. You are becoming someone who moves once and moves correctly. This is why fear is losing its grip. Fear needs uncertainty to survive. But once installation locks in, uncertainty collapses. You may not know every detail, but you know enough. And enough is all authority needs. If your chest feels steady right now, if your thoughts feel quieter, if your body feels present instead of restless, that's installation completing. Do not try to feel something dramatic. This isn't emotional fireworks. This is operating system upgrade. Subtle, stable, permanent. And when you wake up, you will not announce the change, but you will walk differently. You will speak less. You will decide faster. You will disengage sooner. And you will stop negotiating with things that do not respect your direction. That is what you are becoming tonight. If this resonates, comment, It's locking in. Chosen one. Once the internal shift locks in, the external world has no choice but to respond. This is where things begin to feel noticeably different, not because you are trying, but because alignment creates pressure everywhere it goes. Tomorrow, people will sense it before they understand it. They won't be able to name what changed. They'll say, "You seem calmer, different, harder to read, or more distant." But what they're actually responding to is finality, the absence of seeking, the absence of emotional negotiation, the presence of internal certainty. Certainty unsettles environments built on control. This is why, after tonight, certain dynamics will collapse quickly. Power imbalances will feel exposed. Conversations that relied on your compliance will stall. Situations that depended on your hesitation will lose leverage. Not because you confront them, but because you no longer feed them. This is when the world tests you, not with obvious challenges, but with subtle invitations to return to the old version of you. Someone may provoke you emotionally, someone may suddenly need reassurance, someone may try to pull you back into a familiar role. This is not coincidence, it's confirmation. Authority is always tested immediately after activation. Do not overreact, do not over-explain, do not overcorrect. Your job is not to prove you've changed. Your job is to remain unchanged in your new posture. Pay attention to how fast things resolve when you stay neutral. Notice how pressure dissipates when you don't respond emotionally. Notice how clarity arrives when you stop narrating your process. This is the evidence that authority has taken root. Here's the shift most people miss. Once authority is present, effort becomes unnecessary. You don't push outcomes. You allow outcomes to meet you. Resistance reveals itself. Alignment accelerates itself. You may feel an urge to simplify your life abruptly, clean your space, cancel plans, end conversations early. That's not impulsive. It's environmental alignment. Your surroundings are being adjusted to match your internal state. And understand this clearly. Not everyone who leaves after this shift was meant to stay. Some were assigned to an earlier version of you. Their role is complete. No drama is required. Completion does not require conflict. If you feel a strange sense of calm detachment mixed with sharp awareness, that's correct. You are not disengaging from life. You are engaging from a higher vantage point. Comment, "I'm holding the line," if you feel this happening. Chosen one. Resistance always spikes right before alignment becomes visible. This is not opposition trying to stop you. It's opposition trying to measure you, to see if you will leak energy, explain yourself, or abandon the posture you just stepped into. This is the moment where many lose momentum, not because they are unworthy, but because they react instead of remain. Expect subtle tests. Someone may challenge your boundaries just this once. Someone may question your tone, your distance, your timing. Someone may suddenly need emotional access they never valued before. These are not emergencies, they are checks. The old version of you would rush to repair, soothe, clarify. The new version does not. The new version listens, pauses, and lets silence do the work. Silence now carries weight because it is backed by certainty. Here is the key principle for this phase. Do not confuse urgency with importance. Urgency is often noise disguised as necessity. Importance arrives calmly, without pressure. If something demands an immediate emotional response, step back. If something pressures you to decide before clarity arrives, delay. Precision is your protection now. You will notice resistance attempting to pull you into old patterns, overthinking, people-pleasing, self-doubt. These patterns are familiar, which makes them dangerous. Familiarity does not equal alignment. Familiarity often equals habit. Break the habit. When you feel pulled to react, breathe once and wait. When you feel compelled to explain, stop and observe. When you feel tempted to justify your distance, don't. Authority grows when you outweight interference. There is something else happening right now that you must recognize. Your tolerance for chaos is collapsing. What once felt manageable now feels disruptive. That's because your system can no longer metabolize misalignment. This is not sensitivity, it's calibration. And calibration changes your environment. Some people will feel exposed around you, not because you judge them, but because clarity removes camouflage. When masks feel heavy, people either adjust or withdraw. Let them choose. You are not responsible for managing their discomfort. You may also notice your sleep patterns shifting, shorter sleep, deeper rest, or sudden wakefulness at odd hours with a calm mind. That's not anxiety, that's integration. Your internal systems are syncing to a new operating rhythm. Stay disciplined in small things now. Keep your routines clean. Protect your mornings. Reduce noise before sleep. These are not lifestyle tips, they are stabilizers. This phase is about protecting momentum without announcing it. The more quietly you move, the faster alignment completes. The less you explain, the more authority consolidates. If you feel the urge to pull back just slightly, to conserve energy and observe, honor it. That instinct is guiding you through the narrow passage where interference cannot follow. Comment, I won't react if you're choosing restraint over impulse. Chosen one. There is a very specific moment when alignment finishes. It is not loud. It is not emotional. It does not feel like victory the way movies portray it. It feels like finality. You will wake up and realize you are no longer debating, no longer asking, should I? No longer waiting for permission. The internal tug of war will be gone. That is the sign. When alignment completes, indecision disappears. Not because you suddenly know everything, but because you know enough to move without resistance. The background noise in your mind quiets. The need to revisit old thoughts evaporates. What once felt complicated becomes obvious. And here is the part that matters most. Once this happens, there is no return to the previous version of you. Trying would feel unnatural. Going back would feel like compression. Old environments would feel too small. Old conversations would feel repetitive. Old fears would feel irrelevant. This is why heaven waited until tonight. You were not ready earlier, not because you were weak, but because you were still negotiating with versions of yourself that needed to expire. Tonight ended those negotiations. From this point on, your decisions will carry momentum automatically. You won't need to push. You won't need to convince. Things will either align quickly or remove themselves cleanly. Watch how fast endings happen now. Watch how quickly clarity replaces confusion. Watch how delays suddenly turn into cancellations or confirmations. This is not chaos. This is efficiency. And understand this clearly. When alignment completes, visibility increases. Not attention-seeking visibility, but consequence-based visibility. People notice outcomes. Systems respond faster. Opportunities appear without explanation. This is why restraint was required first, because visibility without containment creates collapse. You have containment now. That's why the final instruction for this half is simple but non-negotiable. Do not rush to act tomorrow. Do not announce your clarity. Do not seek validation for what you know. Let alignment reveal itself through results. You will feel the urge to move soon, but not tonight. Tonight is sealing. Tomorrow is observation. Action follows naturally when timing opens. You'll know. There will be no anxiety attached to it. If your body feels steady right now, grounded, alert, calm, that's confirmation. If your mind feels quiet, that's confirmation. If you feel emotionally neutral but internally focused, that's confirmation. You are locked in. Comment, alignment complete, if you feel this closure happening. Chosen one, now we arrive at the most serious part of this message, because what you become after tonight is not something you turn on and off. It is not a phase. It is not a mood. It is a role. From this point forward, you become someone who cannot unknow what you know. This is why heaven waited until now, not because the moment wasn't available, but because you weren't finished forming. Tonight completes that formation. Tomorrow begins expression. Here is the first change you must understand. You will no longer be reachable in the same way. People may still have access to you physically, digitally, socially, but emotionally and energetically the door has shifted. You will notice it when people speak and you feel no pull to respond immediately. You will notice it when drama fails to hook you. You will notice it when silence feels safer than explanation. That is not coldness. That is authority without noise. The second change is this: your standards will rise without negotiation. You will stop trying to make things work with what no longer respects your alignment. You will not argue. You will not demand. You will simply disengage. And the ease with which you do this will surprise even you. This is why tonight matters, because once this standard locks in, you cannot lower it again without discomfort. Trying to tolerate what you've outgrown will feel physically wrong. You will feel it in your chest, in your breath, in your patience. That is your system protecting itself. The third change is more subtle, but more powerful. Your presence will begin to regulate rooms, not through words, through steadiness. People will either calm down around you or become visibly unsettled. That reaction will tell you everything you need to know. Calm recognizes calm. Chaos resists calm. This is discernment without effort. You are also becoming someone who moves once. No more circling the same decisions. No more revisiting what was already clear. Once clarity arrives, movement follows naturally. This is how leaders operate, not through urgency, but through inevitability. And here is the part that will feel unfamiliar at first. You will stop explaining yourself, not out of arrogance, but because explanation will feel unnecessary. The right people will understand without words. The wrong people never needed an explanation to begin with. This is not isolation. This is distillation. You are being distilled into something precise, focused, harder to read, harder to manipulate, harder to rush. And yes, this will cost you comfort. You may feel moments of loneliness, not because you are alone, but because you are early in becoming, early in alignment, early in occupying a frequency others haven't reached yet. Do not rush to fill that gap. The gap is space being made. If you feel yourself stepping into this, quietly but unmistakably, comment, "I feel the change." Chosen one. Once you step fully into what you're becoming, the world around you does not remain neutral. It responds, and not everyone responds with celebration. Some respond with confusion, some with discomfort, some with quiet resistance they don't even understand themselves. This is where many chosen ones stumble, not because they lose authority, but because they don't yet know how to hold it without hardening. Here's what will happen. Some people will test your boundaries playfully, some will question your distance indirectly, some will interpret your calm as arrogance, some will feel exposed simply by your presence. None of this requires correction. Your job is not to manage reactions. Your job is to maintain alignment. The moment you begin adjusting yourself to make others comfortable, you leak the authority that was installed tonight. Authority does not apologize for existing. It does not negotiate its presence. It simply is. But listen carefully. This does not mean becoming cold, dismissive, or cruel. That would be regression. True authority is warm but firm, present but selective, available but not porous. You will feel this balance forming inside you now. You will still care, but you won't carry. You will still listen, but you won't absorb. You will still love, but you won't abandon yourself to prove it. That is mastery. You may notice that conversations feel shorter now, not awkward, complete. You no longer linger for validation or explanation. When something is done, it feels done. When something ends, it ends cleanly. This is not detachment. This is resolution. Some people will drift away without conflict. Let them. Their role was connected to who you were, not who you are becoming. Others will attempt to reattach with urgency. Watch how they approach. Watch if they respect your pace or try to pull you back into old rhythms. Your response to this determines how smoothly the next phase unfolds. If someone honors your silence, they may belong in the next chapter. If someone resents your silence, they likely don't. This clarity is a gift. Use it. You will also begin noticing something else. Your energy recovers faster. Interactions that once drained you no longer do, because you're no longer overgiving. You leave before depletion. You disengage before resentment forms. This is how longevity is built. And yes, some will say you've changed. They're right. But not in the way they think. You didn't become distant. You became deliberate. You didn't lose warmth. You gained boundaries. If someone cannot access you the way they used to, it does not mean you failed them. It means your life has progressed. And progression always creates contrast. If you feel the pressure to explain yourself fading, comment, "I'm holding steady." Chosen one, this is where the shift moves from internal certainty to lived reality. After tonight, your life will stop feeling accidental. Patterns will expose themselves quickly. Delays will either dissolve or reveal why they were necessary, and the sense of wandering that once followed you will be replaced by direction without pressure. Here is what unfolds next, and why it matters. Over the coming days, you will notice a narrowing, not of opportunity, but of distraction. Fewer options will compete for your attention. Fewer voices will pull at your decisions. This is not loss. This is focus crystallizing. When the unnecessary falls away, the essential becomes obvious. You will also notice timing begin to cooperate, not instantly, but decisively. Missed calls will feel like protection. Closed doors will feel clean, not painful. And when openings appear, they will feel calm, almost understated, yet undeniable. This is how alignment moves once it's sealed, without drama, without chasing. Pay close attention to your body during this phase. Alignment registers physically before it makes sense logically. You may feel grounded even when outcomes are uncertain. You may feel steady in situations that once triggered urgency. That steadiness is your new baseline. Guard it. There will be moments when the old reflex tries to return, overthinking, explaining, reaching back for reassurance. When it happens, pause, breathe once, and do nothing. The impulse will pass. Each time you refuse to react, the new identity strengthens. This is the discipline now, restraint over reaction. You are also stepping into a season where results replace reassurance. You won't need constant confirmation. Progress will speak. Outcomes will validate. And people who doubted quietly will adjust without acknowledgement. Let them. Your work is not to collect recognition. It's to maintain direction. Understand this clearly. After tonight, your life will no longer tolerate misalignment for long. What doesn't fit will surface quickly. What drains you will reveal itself fast. What belongs will move toward you without force. This is not chaos. This is efficiency born from clarity. You are becoming someone whose presence shortens timelines. That means patience must be paired with precision. You don't rush. You don't stall. You move when the opening appears, and when it does, you move cleanly. One step, correctly placed, then another. And here is the final truth to carry forward. You are not waiting anymore. Preparation is complete. Installation is sealed. Alignment is active. From here on out, momentum responds to posture, not effort. If you feel a quiet confidence settling in, not excitement, not fear, just readiness, that's the seal. Do not announce it. Do not dramatize it. Do not test it. Live it. Comment, "I'm becoming," if you feel this final lock-in, because tonight was not about motivation. Tonight was not about inspiration. Tonight was about identity completing its transition. And from this point forward, you will not recognize the way life responds to you, because it will be responding to who you have finally become.